Hello everyone. Today we are explaining you about the three topics: interlanguage, error and error analysis, and order and stages of SLA.
Well, I will start with interlanguage. What is interlanguage? Interlanguage is the construction of a system between L1 and L2, and also it has six premises. The first is abstract, that it refers that the learner has a mental grammar in his or her mind. The second is permeable. It's open to be influenced by L1 or L2. And the third one is transitional. It can change over time from basic level to an advanced level. The fourth is related to variable rules, and it refers to the performance and when the learner wants to communicate something in a specific um, context. The next is the strategies. In this part, the learner can use omission or overgeneralization. And the last one is the fossilization, when some errors become permanent, even if the learner keeps studying. Another important factor is the computational model known as the black box. The black box is the human mind. It's composed by four elements: input, that is the language we are exposed to; the intake, that is a part of input but is the short term memory; the L2 knowledge is the long term memory or permanent memory; and the output is the result, or in other words, is the production of all the knowledge we acquire. In interlanguage, there are also four types of aspects, but I just explained you three of them. The first is discourse aspects, that is subdivided in another three. The first is acquired discourse rules. In this part, it's not enough that the learners knows rules of grammar or vocabulary. It's necessary that the learners knows discourse rules like how to interrupt someone politely, how to respond a compliment, etc. The next is the role of input and interaction in L2 acquisition. It's divided in 2 points. The first point is input modification and interactional modifications. In input modifications, we can talk about foreigner talk. What is foreigner talk? It's the language that a native speaker uses when addressing a non-native speakers. In other words, the native speaker modifying his or her speak. And interactional modification, in this part we can talk about scaffolding and negotiation of meaning. What is scaffolding? Scaffolding is a temporary assistance that helps the learner to understand better an utterance that he or she doesn't know. And the last one is the role of output in L2 acquisition. In this part, an important author like Swain says that it's an important part of this process, and also she says that it helps to notice gaps in their knowledge. Another type of aspects is the psycholinguistics aspects that is subdivided also. And the first one is L1 transfer, that it refers when the native language influences the second language. It can be positive when there are similarities, or it can be negative when there are many differences. The next one is the role of consciousness. In this part, Krashen says that there is a difference between acquisition and learning. And for him, acquisition is an unconscious process and learning is a conscious process. The next one is the processing operation. In this part, an important author is Slovin, and it refers to how learners pay attention, how learners store the information or the knowledge in his or her memories. And the last one is the communication strategies. They are only techniques that the learners use when they want to communicate something. And the last type of aspects are the linguistics aspects. They are six. And the first one is the relative clauses. These are patterns found in almost all languages. And the next one is the learnability, where some structures are easier to learn than others. The next is universal grammar. It's a theory proposed by Noam Chomsky, and he says that all humans born with an innate ability to learn a language. So the next is access to universal grammar. It's divided in four types. A complete access, that is when the learner knows all the rules of universal grammar. No access when they don't know all the rules. Partial access when they know a part of rules but they use more another strategies. And dual access when the learner combines both the rules of universal grammar and strategies. And the next one is the critical period hypothesis, that it says that there is a specific age to learn, and after the puberty it becomes harder. And the last one is the markedness. It's divided into marked structures and unmarked structures. Marked refers to rare or complex structures, and the unmarked is the common structures. Thank you.
Hello, today I'm going to explain you about the analysis of errors. Analysis of errors is a subject of success when a learner commit different errors when learning the L2 or learning a second language. And the professor or teacher helps to fix these problems, and this process of analysis of errors is composed for four stages. The first stage is identifying, the second stage is describing, the third stage is explaining, and the last stage is evaluation. Okay, following with the subject, I'm going to start with the first stage. The first stage is identifying errors. Uh, you need to compare the sentence learners with the correct sentences or correct form for the language. I going to show for those two examples. The first is they went in the traffic. The correct version of this is they went into traffic. And the other sentence is the English language is used for travel to my life. These have many errors and it's necessary to extract or identify all that have in this sentence. The correctly is English is useful for travels to my life. Okay. Following with the next section, that is the two. The second stage is describing errors. After you identify, you need to describe and classify. Uh, you can classify the error in depending of if this is a verb, a noun, adjective or preposition, etc. And you described the error depending for four categories: is substitution, omission, misordering, and addition. Substitution is when you substitute an item for others. Uh, Omission when is you omitting a necessary item. Misordering when you distort the words in a sentence. And addition is when you add item that is necessary in the sentence. How in the other examples, here the is probably there in the in instead of int with respect to the first example, and the second is the respect of the first the omission of verb is. the substitution of verb use instead of adjective useful, and the misordering of the word in the sentence. Okay, following with the third stage is about the explaining errors. In this set, why the learner commit the error. There are two forms for classify this. The first overgeneralization, that consists in a broadly form of use of language, of grammar, structure, or different sentences. And the second is negative transfer. This is when the modern language affect in the L2 or second language. How in these two examples, they went in the traffic is an example of the negative transfer because it's a direct translation of Spanish or English. The other example is have many errors, and this is a mix of negative transfer with overgeneralization. Uh, in this sentence, you can show different aspects of the Spanish and uh, many structures that is not necessary for this to is overgeneralization. Fine. For the last stage, that is evaluation. Evaluation shows the severity of an error. These errors can be classified into global errors or local errors. The global errors succeed when a sentence have many errors and is not possible to understand, while the local error is a sentence with less errors and is possible to understand. How in these two examples, the first that is they went in the traffic. This is an example of the local error because only is associated in the preposition int, and it's possible to understand the meaning of the sentence. While the in the second example is an example of global errors. It's not possible to understand and it's necessary to reorganize and classify the different errors that have this sentence. Okay, this is the fourth stage for analyze the errors. I will wait that you learned how to do this, and thank you for watching.
Hi, I'm Daniela, and I am explaining the stages of second language acquisition. Also, it's the order and stages of second language acquisition. Okay, here, the most important thing to know is that our brain has an internal syllabus. Is that to say, also that we don't learn rules and randomly, okay, because we follow a natural, predictable order to build our language step by step. Okay, as can you see on my map, we have four stages. The first one is the stage one, the pre-production, also call it the silent period. Okay, here the learner is not talking, okay, but the brain is busy doing intake processing. um, is when you are absorbing sounds and building your mental lexicon. Okay, it's like when you download the software before you can use the program on an application on your phone or computer. So we have the stage, uh, our second stage, that is the early production. Okay, we use here formulaic chunks, and these are memorized phrases like I don't know, or my name is, simple sentences. Okay, and we use them as single blocks, and it's necessary to survive socially. Okay, and also it's a strategy to communicate in our communication and in our daily routines. Okay, without worrying about grammar yet. Okay, the third one, or our stage three, is the speech emergence, and this is where we start creative
construction. Okay, we stop repeating and start inventing our own sentences. Okay, we use semantic strings also, focusing on the meaning, even if the grammar is simple, like saying "me no blue," right? Is like a sentence, but it is our first original speech. And the last one is the restructuring. Okay, is the intermediate and advanced fluency. Okay, this is the stage where our brains moves from memory to rules. This creates the U-shape development. If a student says, "I eat it," it's actually a win because it means that the brain is successfully reorganizing the system to master the language. So we have our four stages, and that's all. Thank you.